Hello my beautiful people, the Lion Spirit is back with his message, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Today it's gonna be a wild ride. So prepare yourself. We're gonna talk about everything, about berserkers from the Vikings. We will talk about Roman legionnaires. We will talk about UFC fighting back in the days and nowadays. We will talk about the differences of narcissistic abuse depending on the target, because there is one fundamental difference. Either the target of abuse is stronger than the narcissist or not. Either it lets the narcissist project fear into it or not. The narcissist will find a way to extract supply, otherwise there wouldn't be abuse, right? But there's a fundamental difference for them, and we'll talk about all of that, and I will put all of this into relation to narcissistic abuse. So if you want to know what axes and sword fighting and berserkers and UFC fighters have to do with narcissists, stay tuned and watch the video with me. Because I watch my own videos too, yeah, I like it. It's kind of like listening to good advice is what I should do in the future. Whatever, right? So when you engage with a narcissist, when you have a discussion with a narcissist, this is a violent act, at least from one side, from the side of the narcissist. I lived in a narcissistic triangulative relationship for too long, and by engaging into this relationship and discussions with with passion, compassion, love, understanding, empathy, assuming the person in front of me is a human being quite similar to myself, that wants, I do not explain what a normal person is right now. It's, ready for, okay, I do it, ready for compromise, respecting boundaries, and so on. Talking of boundaries, in a social, healthy, working environment, you will go to people and tell them, hey, you hurt me this way because you said something. And then the people will respect that, excuse for that, and in the future you will not be hurt. And you will do the same when you say, hey, or it is on both sides. You can expect this, You will take care for them, they will take care for you. If you say, well, I was laughing about the topic because it's easy for me to overcome it, then the other person may say, hey, you hurt me with that, because for me this topic is very serious. I had a very bad experience in the past, and this triggers me all the time. And then you say, hey, sorry, I did not know that. I will in the future. I understand you better now. Thank you for letting me know. But a narcissist, for a narcissist, you are an insult when you are healthy and blissful, and you overcome all kinds of trouble with ease, effortlessly, every day. You overcome the problems that holding this person back since forever. Every day, and you laugh about them. And this is healthy. But it is an insult for the narcissist. It is a threat for the narcissist. And he will not tell you this. He will revenge for this, okay? And also when you tell him, hey, you hurt me with doing this or that, I don't want you to do this or that. If you open up, don't do it. Do not tell them what hurt you. You cannot establish boundaries with a narcissist that way. I was living, as I told you, with the triangulative relationship in a narcissistic family unit, and both of these narcissists that triangulated me, when we got in this crisis to a point where it got pretty rough, both of them told me they don't want me to confront them with analysis about what is happening, about themselves, about them, psychological analysis about what they are doing, reality, giving them reality check. They don't want that, but they would listen to my emotions, how I feel. Isn't that completely ridiculous? But they will not speak about them, of course. I mean, this is understandable. I mean, in a hollow person there is no emotions, that's for sure. Okay, anyway, let's move on. So, this means, and what I wanted to say is, by engaging in conversations in a compassionate way, in a way that we would expect it in a social environment, assuming these people are somehow similar to me. They killed my dog, kind of. I lost everything. I left my whole life behind, okay? And I am happy that I have the chance to live a new life now, okay? So, by engaging in these conversations, and I got gradually, it's just, I lost everything, the dog, the house, contact to my kids for a while, and all these things, and then I realized what the hell is actually happening? And then I turned the switch, and I said, all right, I'm done with anything, and I did all the right steps, as you see on my YouTube channel, TikTok, social media. Yes, all right, my people. Now, this means you have to learn. You have to understand. In school, in society, we learn how to behave in social environment, and we should not lose this ability. We have to stay loving, compassionate, understanding, empathetic. But we have to understand that there is narcissists out there. Gotta find these guys and give them the right treating, right? Keep them in the distance, And you have to understand that when they engage with you, it is a violent act. They use their voice, they use emotional triggers, and they find weak spots of everybody, okay? All right, now, let's switch to the berserkers. And what I'm talking to you is not what I invent or what I just think. No, I made research over these topics. Aside from narcissists, but now I found out that you can use this knowledge too. Alright, in ancient warfare and in modern warfare too, there is one strategy called shock troopers. And these are troops that are designed to overwhelm the enemy. They plant fear in the hearts of the enemy. And they always have to be one step ahead. They have to be, once the others prepare, they already jumping in. They, what the berserkers did, they were the perfect shock troops, and they were then making a lot of money with it, actually. They got hired as shock troops in armies, in military, But their strategy was to scare the enemies. We don't know, but probably they took any stuff, whatever, drinking beer with whatnot, and then they got really crazy and felt invulnerable. They didn't wear armor. They charged into battle almost naked, and the Romans were like, "What the hell is happening?" and were completely. They lost the battle before it started because they were full of fear. of these crazy people, biting in their shields and axes and doing all kinds of things in order to plant fear into the heart of the enemy. Okay? And this is that saying, before the battle is after the battle. But there is an antidote to this. There is an answer to this. Because if you have seasoned veteran squads that are battle hardened and have experience and have self-esteem, they know that this is just a theater, basically, and they have their methods and programs, and they know this happens, I do this, this happens, I do this. Then the berserkers lose their efficiency. But if you have rookies, if you have cheap troops that don't know what to do in battle, they lose this battle before it starts, okay? And then I also, don't ask why, I found it interesting also to do research about axe and sword warfare, because, you know, an axe, you have to swing it always in an angle, while with a sword you can go very straight. And a sword is always faster than an axe in comparison, okay? But still the axe can be very effective, especially in the combination with shock troops, because that is the strength of the axe. It has to be used overwhelmingly as psychological warfare, because it also is a mental thing. If you see the axe, a battle axe, a berserker with a battle axe, you don't want this person to come near you. Okay, it's so reckless, savage. And you also know the axe will, even if I have a shield, it will destroy my shield, or it can pull it down. Okay, so these together work very well. But again, the sword represents the sword. It represents the battled veteran that knows what is happening, that knows his ability, that is technically on a high level, psychologically on a high level. Because a fighter with a sword needs much more practice to be as effective as a savage, crazy guy with an axe. Alright, now let's go to UFC fighters now. This is these fights with you are allowed to do any kind of martial art, and the fight don't stop when it goes to the ground, it goes on. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Like modern gladiator fights, whatever. Back in the days, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, these fights often were very brutal and bloody, and there were top fighters that were pure crazy savage psychopaths, like Wanderlei Silva. I think this was one guy, you know, totally scary guys. And they also used the shock troop effect. They scared the enemy by being crazy, by planting fear in their hearts, and then overwhelming them with pure violence in the ring. It was crazy. But at some point, when the sport evolved, the fighters learned that technique, game plan, mental control, fight IQ, cardio, all these things, when you use them the right way, these guys do not reach the top no more. They get stuck at a very low level of competition because they cannot apply their shock troop psychological warfare anymore. Technique, knowledge, game plan, fight IQ, all these things beat pure violence and savagery at some point. Why am I telling you this on a narcissistic awareness channel? Because this applies to what the narcissist wants to do. He wants to plant fear in the heart of people in order to make them vulnerable for his attack. Okay? And what you need is to apply this mindset of a seasoned veteran legionnaire, of a top UFC fighter, and and they are calm. I make a small jump now, forgive me for that, but if we think about one, I can call him out, tell you his name. His name is Khamzat Chimaev, or Khabib Nurmagomedov, and others. I claim they are sensitive, they are highly sensitive, because in this fight business they use empathy, they use fight IQ, they have to understand the enemy. There is psychological warfare before the fight, you need mental strength. They try to trigger you, they try to trigger your rage in order to make you vulnerable, because they know it is a weak spot to make somebody angry. Okay? And in order to find this out, to use this, they need to be sensitive. Their senses getting sharper. And when these guys are on top of the world, when they are number one in their weight class, they often cry. And not for self-pity. Narcissists would cry for self-pity. The only occasion a narcissist can cry. No. It is funny. It's funny, almost funny. Or Paddy Pimblett. They engage. They also they help their fans, the children. There are often children, and these guys realize, I am the strongest man in my weight class. Okay, I am world champion. There's no man that can stop me. But I cannot stop the suffering of a small child, and they start crying. All right, this is crazy, right? And this I tell this to you, to all men. It is not wrong to be sensitive. It is not wrong to be highly sensitive, and it is not a contradiction to being strong. Okay? Right. Okay. Now, if you know all of this, you need that mindset of a champion UFC fighter, of a seasoned legionnaire, in order to deal professionally with these people that try to create chaos and fear in the ranks of the enemies, in order to capitalize on the mayhem, on the chaos, and on the anxiety and fear. Okay? So the narcissist is always very insecure inside, no matter whether it's what kind of narcissist it is. Okay? Covert, overt, cerebral, somatic, sexual, doesn't matter. The narcissist basically is insecure and anxious. Okay? And he tries to project this into anyone around him. And now this is why they have a easy game, of course, with weaker people, and I don't mean this in an offensive way. It is simply fact that you have to see if you have a person that is physically strong, a bully, or much older than, let's say, than children, then this person is simply physically stronger. And then it will be easy for the person to project fear into the other person. Okay? By the way, I have to make a small thing. I have to tell you something from the side now. This is also why the narcissists, they don't like communication that is transparent, like email or messengers where you cannot delete the messengers, because then it gets evident what they do and they cannot reach their goal then. They want to create that mayhem, they want to trigger you in a conversation. They want to create fear. They will engage in the conversation by telling you, oh, this or that will happen to you or your children, to the people you love. Oh, this threat is coming, This will happen. It will be the best for you, you do this. and then they will offer you a redemption from that fear that they planted in your heart, or that emotional trigger they gave you, or they will tell you this person said something about you that triggers you, you know. So they will in some way get you into a confused state first, into a weaker state, because whenever you are triggered, you're weaker. This is the shock troop. And as a seasoned veteran, you know this. You know, alright, this is that part, alright, they trigger me, they want to put fear in my heart. Next step, while talking then with their violent voice of the serpent, that they want to get something in your head. They try to get you somewhere, you know, somewhere on sideways, never straight. They will never say, I want your money, I want your service, I want sex, I want this. No, they will never say this. They will say, it is the best for you, you do this or that. And when you have this knowledge, you act like with your game plan, you stick with your game plan, you don't get triggered, you don't overcommit, you're not you don't take the insecurity that this person tries to project into you. And yes, this is what we need, right? So now I told you what berserkers, and X's, and legionnaires and swords, and UFC-fighters, and the mindset within all these kind of competition warfare have in common with narcissists, and how you deal with them. You must be aware, you must know they are not the same as you, and you must know that they apply these shock troop tactics in relationships and in conversations, okay? So, when you are physically stronger than them and you are not scared by them, this will trigger rage and hate in them, and they will revenge them. They will revenge themselves for this, for you being strong and healthy, okay? And they will do this in the meantime. In the meantime, because for narcissists everything is meantime. They do mean things in the meantime. And I told you what you need to understand and apply to your life is, do not let them know about your emotions, about your motivations. Be unpredictable. Don't do the same routine every day, because then they will know, okay, he will be gone from 8 till 10 o'clock, and in the meantime I can eat his food, I can poison his food, I can abuse his children, I can do anything of abuse, okay? Or when they know, he is there, then they can prepare something, you know? And this means stay unpredictable. I mean, the best thing is being in no contact at all. But don't open up, don't tell about your motivations. This is what made me lose everything. You know, you go there and say, hey, I have this great idea, I want to start this business. Hey, I want to do this, I will do that, I love it, I love this. Hey, if you do this, you will get nowhere with anything, you will lose everything. All right. So yeah, they will revenge themselves on you, if you do these mistakes. All right. And there are a lot of channels and videos on YouTube that are about food poisoning by narcissists. I don't want to go into detail, and I didn't watch these yet, but on a mental state they definitely poisoned my food too, because, you know, let's say I was burning the 5,000 calories a day, starting at 4 o'clock in the morning, hustling till end of the day, doing everything necessary, being accountable basically, and there is people around me that are not accountable, and this is why I have to mitigate the damage this abusive behavior puts around in the whole. It has consequences. But if the persons are not accountable for it, you will overtake the responsibility for it and burn your calories, do everything necessary, and you just call it a day, and you're happy with the children, and that's it. But then the narcissists will still compete with you. You don't want to compete. They cannot cook food. Okay? And you will have always this great food that you need in order to go on with this. And then they will tell you that they will envy your food. They will envy it, okay? And they will make you feel bad for eating your food exclusively and not letting them eat it. It will poison the whole atmosphere. And if the atmosphere is poisoned because you do everything, so you say, I'm not gonna cook for you. I'm not gonna cook for you. On top of that, okay? And then you will not feel good when you eat. When you have an envious piece of shit around in the same house and you eat alone, it's better than eating with them on the same table. But it's, this is how they destroy stronger people. It's by poisoning and smearing everything with shit, by destroying the atmosphere, the healthy atmosphere, with envy and passive aggression. All right? And another thing, how they can get to the strong people, and this is what I feel is the most urgent thing I want to tell to young men, especially strong men, mentally strong men, physically strong men, men with high self-esteem. There is something that can bring you down, and this is the covert narcissist that cannot be confronted, that will find a way, because they are also protected by law. If somebody destroys the atmosphere in your environment, in your private sphere, and if he takes away your sleep at night by doing very small things are enough to take away your sleep and trigger you every night, the same trigger. And then you cannot act out and smash the face of this person because they are protected by law. You have to control yourself. But so this means the only way to deal with a huge pile of shit is to go away and let it go, let it behind. Okay? And this is what I want to warn all these young men, to protect their private sphere, protect their food, the food, the private sphere, their sleep. This is basics. It's very basic. It's very obvious, but you have to speak to obvious when you talk about narcissists, because they are obviously abusive, obviously respecting no boundaries, Okay. And this is the difference. If you have a bully, a strong person, and he lives together with a woman that has no ability to physically stop this person, or children, then it's a whole other story. This person will have it easy to project fear into the mind of these people, and abuse them in all kinds of ways. And this is the difference of how people will experience the abuse of narcissists. Okay? And I have experienced a covert narcissist, and they do not engage in conversations because they cannot articulate themselves. They have this passive-aggressive way, they poison everything, the atmosphere, they are envious on everything, and if an envious person is within your private sphere, you cannot live on, You will feel guilty for anything that is healthy, what you do, because the narcissist will always have to revenge himself on you for living that grandiose life that he thinks he is entitled to live. Okay? Sounds weird? Yes, it's weird. Okay. And the overt narcissist will engage in conversations and will try to get into private conversations. So there are no witnessing people around, or only other cult members, codependents, dysfunctional family unit members that share the shared fantasy, the belief that the false self is authentic, that it is a, you know what I'm saying, that are brainwashed. And everybody will be brainwashed in the dysfunctional family unit, everybody, okay? So in a dysfunctional family unit, you will have 3, 4, 5 people around you, and you will say each one of them, your intuition will tell you, oh, they are all, something is wrong with all of them. And then they will tell you, all will tell you, no, there must be something wrong with you. Because you cannot say that 5 people are sick. There must be rather something wrong with you. And this is a multiple gaslighting, and it's very hard to you have to step out first, and then you will understand, oh my God, I was always right with what I thought, okay? Always what I said even. But then you get multiple gaslightings, and then you start doing introspection, what the narcissist cannot do, and try to find the blame in yourself, Alright. So we are left with one last topic, and that is, how is the abuse done on the weaker persons? That's what we figured out, that there is this big difference. And I think we have a long video now already, and we can talk about this topic in another video. But if you have input for me to considering to this, if you have experienced abuse from physical bullies or people who succeeded in projecting their anxiety into you, you can let me know. I'm very thankful for your support always, for inspiration. You encourage me to go on this channel, and you hear these bells ringing now. It's time to go home, do some self-care, and I will leave you with that one last information. Self-care is not possible in the presence of narcissists, because they will always put this on a competitive level. They will tell you, oh, you had this off time, now I want this off time, and they will be envious on your off time, and they will make you feel bad for doing self-care. They will tell you this is narcissistic, because in everybody there is healthy narcissism too, by the way. This is how they trigger you, how they engage to you, and then they will make you feel that you are, they will make self-doubt on you and tell you you are the narcissist and stuff like this too. But especially self-care is not possible when you live with narcissists, because they will make you feel bad for it. They will poison this too. Right, so my people, keep it clean, understand it, see through it. I wish you the spirit of discernment and nice Christmas time. I'm out now.